Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and do a comparison between the iPhone 14 that just came out and the iPhone 7 that has been out for a long period of time, and let's see how they hold up, I guess. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why even compare these two phones? They are so different, they are so old, at least this one, but you are forgetting something very interesting. The iPhone 7 is half of 14. So this phone is technically, I guess, it's not quite like, the half of the phone series or whatever, but this is, I guess, half the series in a way of the iPhone 14. So let's see how they compare. Now, if you want to pick up iPhones I would recommend buying, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell there are some key differences. The iPhone 7 on the front has a 4.7-inch Retina IPS panel, and it was a phone that came out back in 2016, right after the iPhone success. And this phone had some tragic news this year. It did end up, being discontinued in terms of software, which is very sad. We'll get into that in a second. But the front panel isn't bad. It's not an OLED display, which is very common nowadays. We still have Touch ID, which I like. I like more than Face ID still to this day, but you have really thick bezels on this phone. So definitely looks a little bit dated. But with the iPhone 14, you do get a much newer design. It is a 6.1 inch, a much bigger phone, 6.1 inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and it is a really good looking panel. I mean, compared to the iPhone 7, this is a much more newer design. And honestly, it's kind of sad because right after the 7, you had the iPhone 10 in 2017, and that phone really changed everything in my opinion. So with this design, definitely looks much better than something like the iPhone 7. In terms of thickness and thickness, though, this may be an advantage for you for the iPhone 7 users. You can actually see we do have a little bit of a thinner design on the iPhone 7. Now, that might be cool for some people. Personally, I do like a thicker phone. And what's funny is, to give you some perspective, this was the thinnest, and these are the thinnest offerings from both, providers right now. These are the smallest phones both offer, for both main flagship phones of their counterparts 2016 and 2022. So it's crazy to see like 6-year differences, how thin and how much bigger these phones have pretty much been getting. Now, we did have a SIM card tray on the iPhone 7. We do not have a SIM card tray on the iPhone 14 anymore. On the back though, this is what was interesting. So with the iPhone 14, we had a glass back with a dual camera setup. You have MagSafe wireless charging, emergency SOS satellite mode, crash detection, IP certification on both phones, which is great. 5G on this phone too. eSIM support, again, because there's no SIM card tray. And dual SIM support on this phone too. But the iPhone 7 had this jet black version, which I actually liked a lot, And personally, I think the jet black, I actually don't know if this is glass. I don't think it's glass, but it's like polished material of some sort. And it looks beautiful. It almost feels like glass. You could have honestly given me this and I could have probably been convinced it was an iPhone 8, but this is a very good material on this phone too, and that was one of the cooler things about the iPhone 7s. Now, they both have lightning ports at the bottom, and they both actually cut off very interesting things. These two phones are actually very interesting. The iPhone 7 cut out the headphone jack, the iPhone 14 cut out the SIM card tray. So these two phones, maybe Apple does something with like every 7 generations or something. They just do something crazy. This iPhone, they did cut out the headphone jack. This one, they cut out the SIM card tray. So in terms of the outside, we're kind of discovering some very interesting things. Now, in terms of software and longevity between these two devices, I don't know if it's going to be obvious to you or not, but the iPhone 7 is already discontinued. So this phone is not going to be lasting that much longer. I mean, I did update this one to iOS 15.7. I kept this one on iOS 14 for a long period of time. And I will say I'm really happy this thing ended up getting iOS 15.7, but it's not going to last that much longer. It's pretty much already outdated, which is very sad. With the iPhone 14 though, it's just getting started. So this is the perfect phone to go up to. If you have an upgrade available, if you have somebody buying you the plan or you're purchasing a new phone yourself, this is a very solid phone that's going to last you a long period of time. I would probably recommend taking advantage of some carrier deals if you have like T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. If they are offering some sort of plans, I would recommend taking advantage of them. But otherwise, I mean, even for $799, this is a very good phone that's going to last you a very long time. Massive upgrade coming from the iPhone 7. So to show you that, I'm going to go ahead and do a speed comparison between both these phones too. Again, like I said, the iPhone 7 had the Apple A10 Fusion chip inside of it with 2 gigabytes of RAM. First iPhone with 2 gigs of RAM. And the iPhone 14 has the Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go see which one is the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. all the apps are cleared out in the background, hopefully, except for that one. So let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1, and that one kind of covers it up there. Music 3, 2, 1. I think they worked on 2 different panels, so we'll just go and load out of this one. But obviously, I think the iPhone 14 would have been faster. Settings 3, 2, 1. This one was loaded before. Even then, I mean, it was still kind of faster on the iPhone 14. Hopping out of here, let's do health 3, 2, 1. And again, I think the iPhone 14 was faster there. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into their app stores 3, 2, 1. And I mean, even here we were on 2 different pop-ups. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate, but let's just go and load into this panel. Now, when we're on here, I don't know why this one's like this. Scrolling through, I want you to see if you can see a difference. I mean, there definitely is a difference when you're scrolling through within these. The iPhone 14 is by far the faster one, even closing out of applications. The gesture-based design is going to be giving you a faster experience than something on the iPhone 7. Camera, let's go and open this one up. Let's go and open up that photo. There we go. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's do some of these third-party applications that I have on both. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go and hop out of here. Let's do stack. And this is probably where you're going to see the bigger differences. Whenever you start loading up these big games, that's when, that's when these big games start actually showcasing their differences. When I've played heavy intensive games like Genshin Impact and or PUBG or anything on these older phones, they always tailor them down. And again, with these annoying pop-ups, still it would have been faster on the 14. With these big games, they always tailor their graphics down to the lowest ones available, especially if you're on the latest version of software. With the iPhone 14s, they always tailor them to the one, not the highest one, but usually one of the top higher levels. I would say the top 70% levels. They're usually already automatically stated there. So that's probably one of the big things to keep in mind too. Let's try some of these other apps. Snake First Blocks 3, 2, 1. iPhone 14 again is the faster one. This iPhone 7 just loves having these pop-ups even though I already cleared them all out. Let's go and do Dropbox. Let's do TikTok 3, 2, 1. And there we go. That one kind of answers that one. Twitter 3, 2, 1. So it's actually not as bad as I think, but it is showcasing its age a little bit. But I will say overall, it does a pretty good job at keeping up with the iPhone 14. I mean, I don't want to give the impression that it keeps up with the iPhone 14. For its age, it is surprising, but it's quite obvious the iPhone 14 is the faster one. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. In terms of the camera department, I will definitely tell you the iPhone 14, there's really no competition here. This dual camera setup is far better than the iPhone 7 single wide angle lens. You're getting a wide and an ultra wide camera, 4K at 60 on the back of the iPhone 14, 4K at 60 on the front. The iPhone 7 only 1080p or 4K 30 on the back, and then you have 720p on the front. Like it's a good camera for the day and age that it came out in, but it's not really that great of a camera anymore, which can be kind of an issue. Personally, for me, when I have a phone like an iPhone 7, the main things that I'm looking at that I'm missing that current iPhones had, the current iPhones have had for like a few years, are things like multiple sensors. I like having the ability of zooming out and or zooming in a lot. I also like having portrait mode. The iPhone 7 does not have any type of portrait mode, which is very, very unfortunate. So that is something that kind of is sad to me. The 7 Plus had it. 7 Plus originated it. This phone, on the other hand, does not have it, which is kind of sad. So that is where something like the iPhone 14, this camera will blow you away. If you're coming from an iPhone 7, you are definitely going to love this camera. You're going to be getting so many more features. You're going to be getting 4K 60 on the front and back, 15x zoom, or 5x zoom, sorry. You'll be getting 5x zoom. You'll be getting 0.5x zoom, which is great. You'll be getting video mode, cinematic mode, portrait mode, very good front camera, very good back camera. This camera is pretty much going to have it all. And honestly, if I kind of sum up this video with like a couple sentences, I will probably tell you that the iPhone 14 is a phenomenal upgrade coming from the iPhone 7. It is a better phone in every single area. It is a better camera phone, better battery life, better performance, better display. It kind of almost seems like the logical next step. Like Apple kind of made a, iPhone success plan here. Like the 7, okay? Like the 7 got discontinued with software and the 14 kind of took over. Like to 7 generations later, I guess not really, but that's kind of what happened. And I guess that's kind of true because we had the 7s, then the 10, 8, 10, kind of the same thing, whatever. that's kind of a cool thing here, and I actually do like that a lot. But I think the iPhone 7, like the legacy behind this phone is great. I feel like the hype behind the iPhone 7 and that kind of stuff was cooler. I feel like with the 14's, not a crazy amount of hype. I feel like the pros are getting more of the love, and I wish Apple put a newer chipset here. But if you don't want to go up to the 14, you can always buy a 13. You can even buy a 12 and still get a really good phone as well. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.